Hello, Rick Ian here. I would like to talk about the 144,000 that, excuse me, that are coming, and the vision they're going to have in the future, in the near future, when great calamity befalls the earth. This is pretty clear, I believe, in Bible prophecy. You are going to go through it. If you are one of the 144,000, you are not going to be raptured off the earth during this time. You're going to earn your stripes as a witness. But this 144,000 coming is they're going to have vision. They're going to know what's coming upon the earth. And while these things are happening, they're going to have the vision and the perseverance to push on through to the end. The rest of the world, no. People are going to be trampling over one another, killing one another, because life is going to hang in the balance here on the earth the last few years all the way up to the second coming. You're not going to be raptured. You're very well likely going to be protected from a lot of these things. No, many are going to be martyred, as witnessed in Revelation chapter 6. One of the places they're going, witness to be martyred. Luke 21, which I'll get into, Matthew 24. So there's a lot of, I could go on and on, different scriptures, trying to keep it as short as I can. Maybe a kind of a long video, but hey, if you want peace and safety, go over to my counterfeit, Tim Foster. And he'll tell you you're going to be raptured. Your children are going to be raptured. You're all going to be in heaven. Oh, what's it like? 3, 5 different raptures. Who knows? But not here. Not going to get peace and safety here. But we will have vision to push through all the way to the end. This 144,000 is going to have a special commission. Not only to witness across the United States, Ephraim, the great assembly of peoples, before it bears the scorn of the nations. We're going to be the first to go. We're going to know what nations are going to be involved. And we're going to have an idea of the misery that's coming upon the earth. I think I'll do a part 2 on us, witnessing the love we're going to have for one another to get through this. Proverbs 29:18. So we're going to have vision to get through what's shortly going to come upon the earth. When it exactly happens, I don't know. These couple of volcanic eruptions, one in Hawaii and one in Guatemala, kind of prompted me to this. Proverbs 29 and verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Another way you can say it, where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. It's kind of like when you get apathetic. Things get so bad, most people tend to get apathetic and throw in the towel. That's what happened during the Black Death, the Black Plague. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we die. And they had orgies, many of them did, threw religion away, partied hardy until they died. So, let me witness some things here. Okay, Proverbs 29:18. Although life is going to hang in the balance, you're going to earn your stripes. He that endures to the end shall be saved. Out of this present evil age, it's not going to be a ticket. It's not going to be. It's going to be outright hell. We'll get through it though. This I just want to witness. This is what I'm trying to do here, 1 Corinthians 14, because I witness these things that are happening with the United States, Ephraim, and with the nations, Germany, Europe, Latin America, Assyria, Esau, Amalek, Hisbal, Hispanus, his descendants. They're getting stirred up against the United States. We're going to see that coming. I throw these things out on Facebook. Of course, I have a small group on Facebook that sees these things too. It's slowly growing. Small group. Get a hold. Send me a note if you're interested in joining this group. We got a small group of people. We know, we have an idea what's coming on the earth. We see in a mirror dimly, but it's getting clear. You can see things starting to get stirred up. So we have vision. We're having vision of what's happening with the nations. And I'm going to witness to you the natural disasters that are coming upon the earth, which is, actually going to give rise to this eighth beast of Revelation 17:11. It's going to emerge out of these first four trumpet judgments. 1 Corinthians 14 and verses 1 through 3. What's the advantage of somebody that knows what's coming? Prophecy. 1 Corinthians 14. Get to it. 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 14. Pursue love and desire spiritual gifts, but especially that you may prophesy. For he who speaks in a tongue does not speak to men, but to God, for no one understands him. However, in the Spirit he speaks mysteries. But he who prophesies speaks edification and exhortation and comfort to men. What do you mean? Prophets witness misery and destruction. But if they can see into the future, they see these things coming. It gives the people that see and understand these things hope. But there's an end to it. It's the second coming. People that don't see this, don't have the vision, what do? They perish. It's simple. Through that, edification, encouragement, comfort one another with these things concerning the second coming. We're going to have vision. We're going to know what's going to happen with the nations. Exactly specifically? No. But in general, we're going to become buddies with Syria. Even if we have to take Syria from Russia and Iran. We're going to turn away from our older brother, Judah. We're going to depart from them. And that's going to lead to the Damascus oracle. That will prove we're Ephraim. I'm going to use that heavily. 3 points I'm going to use concerning that. 3 events. 3 things that must happen. So that's one of the major reasons why I'm into prophecy. Edification for what is coming upon the earth. So I'm witness to you because people that don't know this are going to be turning right and left to other things to try to figure out what's going on. We will know what's going on. I scratch that out. Revelation chapter 3. I had a revelation in the fall of 2016. That's all the information I'll give you concerning the message to the church, ecclesia of Philadelphia. It was revealed to me that that is the 144,000. Okay, what's the message that I will read to you? Verse 7. And to the messenger of the ecclesia of Philadelphia write. Something just in that alone. Something was revealed to me. Of course, we have to test all things. I'm holding something back also. These things says he who is holy, he who is true, he who has the key of David, who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens. I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it, for you have a little strength. Tiny, minute, least, if you look it up in the Greek. Puny. Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie indeed. I will make them to come and worship before your feet and to know that I have loved you. Okay, listen, verse 10. Because you have kept my command to persevere, I will also keep you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the whole world to test those who dwell on the earth. Now, it's not a rapture. I will keep you out of, better translated, the hour of trial that's coming upon the whole earth. You want another witness in the Old Testament concerning this? And I'm not saying we're going to escape all these things. There will be martyrdoms in this nation. As Matthew 21, Luke 24 witness. What is it? Mark 13. Oh, Ezekiel chapter 5. You have Laodicea. Appears they will be martyred. I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire. Verse 22, you're going to overcome as I overcame. How did he ultimately overcome? He gave his life. That's how they will give their life. That's how they will overcome. Excuse me. Keep the brain focused. Oh. And you, son of man, take a sword and take a barber's razor and pass it over your head and your beard, and take the scales to weigh and divide the hair. You shall burn with fire 1/3 in the midst of the city, Jerusalem. I'll see, it's more than Jerusalem. When the days of the siege are finished, then you shall take 1/3 and strike all around it with the sword. 1/3 you shall scatter in the wind, and I will draw a sword out after them. You shall also take a small number of your hairs and bind them in the edge of your garment. These end up being the two ecclesias, Philadelphia and Laodicea. Then you shall also take a small number of them and bind them in the edge of your garment. Then take some of them again, and so they're protected, right? There's a hedge around them. Take some of them and put them in the hedge of your garment. Then take some of those and throw them into the fire. And burn them in the fire. From there a fire will go out into all where the house of Israel. 1/3 dies by fire, 1/3 by sword. Another third, he's going to draw a sword out after them. And in the end, Isaiah 6, 1/10 remains to return to the land, the holy seed, two ecclesias. One's kept out. They have a commission. As I'll allude to, I'll do a video. I think I have it. Life is stranger than fiction. That's all I'll say. Okay, let me cross that out. Ezekiel 5. Let me just elaborate a little. Man, I'm just sharing some scriptures with you. Amos 4, 6 through 12. This is Amos. This is the United States, house of Israel, Ephraim, now. Wealth inequality. Religious fanaticism, but it's all paganism. Ephraim was always the most religious of the 10 northern tribes. Military arrogance. Donald Trump wants to have military parades. You know, like Russia, parade their missiles. And North Korea, parade your tanks down the street. Doesn't realize that Abraham is our shield. Or, not Abraham. God is our shield and our exceeding reward. That's what he told Abraham. I am your shield. He's the one that's been protecting us, but he's taking the hedge away. When I say Amos, chapter 4. Jeez. The brain. The brain. Amos. Chapter 4. And starting in verse 6. Also I gave you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and lack of bread in all your places. It's going to be us. Something's going to happen. It seems like it's going to be a worldwide thing. Yet you have not returned to me, says Yahweh. I also withheld rain from you when there was still 3 months to the harvest. I made it rain in one city. I withheld rain in another city. You've been seeing that happening since 1983. You follow the weather. Too much rain, not enough. Blasting and mildew. Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 28. The curses. It's burning up in the southwest. Here we've gotten too much rain. One part was rained upon where it did not rain, the part withered. So 2 or 3 cities wandered to another city to drink water. And that's that's happened in California. Some of this stuff hasn't been realized yet. Yet you have not returned to me, says Yahweh. I blasted you with blight, mildew, when your gardens increased, your vineyards, your fig trees. For years, people have to plant 2 and 3 gardens because too much rain. I've known this since '86, so I've planted mine on a slope. When the droughts leave and the mildew arrives. Long periods of too much rain, not enough. So let me just food shortages coming. Let me just I had some more scripture there, but I didn't want to go further. I want to keep this down somewhat. Amos 5, 16 and 17. What am I doing? So the next page. Amos 5, 16 and 17. Therefore the Lord God of hosts says, there shall be wailing in all the streets, and there shall be in all the highways. Alas, alas, they shall call the farmers to mourning over their crops, over many dead. And skillful lamenters to wailing, professional wailers, many dead. In the vineyards there shall be wailing. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to the crops all around the world? Why is there going to be an attempt to unite the world, but there will be blocks of nations? Finally, they'll say peace and safety, and then sudden destruction comes. They're going to sell their souls to Satan, basically. Many. Why? There will be wailing in all the vineyards, for I will pass through your midst, says Yahweh. Oh. What's going to happen to our crops? Cleanness of teeth and lack of bread. Empty stomachs. This, now I can't emphasize this enough. Isaiah chapter 8. The 144,000 are going to know their God. And their God is going to know them because they're going to have the Torah as their testimony in them. What's in the Torah? Anywhere from the prophecies of Joseph, of Abraham, all the way down to Ephraim and Manasseh and the 12 tribes, that's in Torah, the testimony to the testimony that God is going to save his creation, to all of mankind to the last fragment. The lake of fire is even in Torah. Isaiah chapter 8. This gives you a picture of what's coming upon the earth. But he gives you instruction ahead of time. Because when it hits the fan, there's going to be utter pandemonium. Because nobody's going to have any vision. But this small group of people are going to have vision. For Yahweh spoke thus to me with a strong hand, Isaiah 8 verse 11, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, do not say conspiracy. Conspiracies will abound. Rumors. Do not be afraid of their threats, nor be troubled. We'll get into Luke about that. Yahweh of hosts, him you shall hallow. Let him be your fear. Let him be your dread. He will be a sanctuary. Billions are going to throw their faith away. So I'll show you. Life, economic collapse is coming first. Many are saying millions will lose their lives. Things will just shut down. Hospital care will go in the toilet. Life will hang in the balance. The world will be flipped upside down. It'll be the rise of the Gentiles. And there's this eighth beast of Revelation 17:11, primarily all the Roman Catholic nations, and then treaties with other nations. We are going to suffer an incurable wound. We are going to follow the east wind to Assyria to sign a treaty with them. And it will end up being for us. Drop this down a little more. Peace and safety, then sudden destruction. Who's the protector of the earth? Thor. And his hammer, Mjolnir, shatters and breaks in pieces. Oh, that's Germany's God. Peace and safety, the protector of the earth, Thor. Paul probably knew. Assyria. Going on here. Let me find my place. Oh, okay. Him you shall, and let him be your dread. He will be a sanctuary, but a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to both houses of Israel. We have to witness to both houses. Nobody over there in little Judah, Abraham's mighty nation, right? Orthodox Christianity. Nobody's over there witnessing this. Nobody's over there really converting to quote unquote Christianity. Who's going to go over there and tell the witness to them these things? Well, yeah, these things. They have a specific commission. They have rejected their Messiah for 2,000 years. Someone's got to go over there and convince the inhabitants of Jerusalem who their Messiah is. Someone's got to go over there and get them to say a specific saying to get him to return. Life is stranger than fiction. To both houses of Israel, he will be a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, as a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. We got to go over there and change their mind. Or some of us. There will be a second Exodus. I'm going to do a video on that. They shall fall and be broken and be snared and taken. Both houses. Be throwing their faith away because of the misery that's on the earth. Now look, nobody goes into Moses to find the Christ. Nobody likes Moses, basically. And because they don't have the testimony, nobody knows who Joseph is. Nobody knows who Israel really is, the house of Israel. Bind up the testimony, the witness, the warning. Sealed the Torah among my disciples. And I will wait on Yahweh, who hides his face from the house of Jacob. I'm going to make this 2 parts. Part 1 and part 2. This chapter is mind-blowing. Here, excuse me, verse 17, who hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will hope in him. You're going to have that hope in him, because the world's going to... Why do you think Jesus is talking about people will betray one another and hate one another? Now maybe I'll read I had Luke 21. Maybe I'll add Matthew 24. Expound on a little more in part 2. Maybe I'll even do 3 parts to this. 144,000 are going to have vision concerning the misery, the doom that's coming upon the earth shortly. Not only, before the Great Tribulation, you have 4 natural disaster trumpet judgments that are coming upon the earth. I will hope in him. Verse 18, here am I and the children whom Yahweh has given me. We are for signs and wonders in Israel. That's the 144,000. They will have vision when all this misery is befalling the planet. We're going to go on here. And we'll probably end it right here. From Yahweh of hosts, who dwells in Mount Zion. That's the Christ. Here am I, the Christ. These are the watchmen of Ephraim. They're going to go up to Mount Zion to bring the remnant back. The physical remnant. help bring them back. Listen, verse 19. And when they say to you, seek those who are mediums and wizards, who whisper and mutter, should not a people seek their God? Question mark. Should they seek the dead on behalf of the living? You just see the world. What happens when disasters come? Oh, if there was a God, somebody builds their house on the edge of a cliff, like over California, and they have mudslides or whatever. Somebody builds their houses or cities or on earthquake faults, whatever. I know I'm being a little extreme. Whatever. Hey, see these people. Oh, oh, if there was a God who existed, he wouldn't have done this. Act of God, right? Can you imagine? Have you read the trumpet judgments? Can you imagine what's coming upon the earth, man? You have 2 billion, most nominal, if that, among other things, and all these disasters hit. You know what? Like God says, you shall live by every word that proceeds forth from the mouth of God. Maybe I'll go there. Maybe I'll end it there. And open it up. This part 2. People are going to throw their faith away in mass when their stomachs are empty, when they're cold. How do you think I'm looking forward to? Woe to those who long for the day of the Lord. Why should you long for the day of the Lord? That day will be dark. It will be bitter. No ray of light. I'm the weakest of, I have an ulcer. I wonder what it's going to be like to starve with an ulcer if I'm not healed. Life's good right now, right? 21 trillion in debt, just printing the money. And now the stock market, I'm just expounding. Not only is it being fed, the stock market being fed by the Federal Reserve, now they have to stabilize the bond market to keep it going. That's what they've been doing. In the meantime, your food continues to shrink, shrink, shrink. Get these little packages now, little spaghetti packages, notice that, little ice cream packages. They're shrinking your food to hide the inflation from all the quantitative easing. How long can that go? Well, the inflation's going out now. I mean, it can only shrink your food so much. I mean, what? You're gonna get a candy bar this big for $1? I mean, how long before they just throw in the towel and just it is what it is? Okay, all right. Now, should they seek the dead among the living, to the Torah and to the testimony, if they do not speak according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Moses, Elijah, Malachi 4:4-6. The last warning. See, I'm freezing. Should I read it? He said, remember, I will send a lot. Let me just read it. Let me go, just read it. Let me read it. I'm going to make these in parts. Malachi, because I'm just freezing. That's all. I'm just freezing where I'm looking for this anyways. Malachi. I've got things spinning through my mind. 4:4-6. Remember the Torah of Moses. Just wanted to read it verbatim. Remember the Torah of Moses, my servant, which I commanded him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Statutes and judgments. Remember the Torah. In the Torah are all the prophecies. Okay? It's a little off anyways. All the prophecies concerning the nations, or Joseph, Ephraim. The key of David, the key of Israel is there. And that's all done away with. Oh, lovely story, great stories. They're interesting, right? All done away. Not only that, he says, remember the statutes and judgments. Specifically points them out. Brings them to your attention. Because in the judgments is the lake of fire. Where the lepers were cast out away from God, considered accursed of God, sent away for healing. Cast out. And then brought back on the day of their cleansing. Jesus said, John 5:46 or 45:47, if you don't understand Moses' sayings, you will not understand my words. So they twist when he talks about fire, wailing and gnashing of teeth, casting in the furnace of fire, lake of fire. They don't go to Moses. They don't consider. And most of humanity is going to roast forever, or on the other hand, he's going to pass them through the fire. He wants the testimony, the Torah and the testimony in the 144,000. The Torah of Moses, the law of Moses with its statutes and judgments, the prophecies. If you don't have them, you're not going to know what's going to go down. You won't even know who the nations are. Let me just finish up. Part 1. Verse 21. They will pass through it hard-pressed and hungry, and it shall happen when they are hungry that they will be enraged and curse their king and their God and look upward. No vision. No vision. Then they will look to the earth and see trouble and darkness, gloom of anguish, and they will be driven into darkness. That's pretty gloomy, isn't it? But what does he tell the 144,000 who have the Torah? Now, I'm not talking about the letter of the Torah. I don't keep any days, months, seasons, years. Okay, I used to. I was instructed out of it. I'm in the spirit of Torah. Christ is the fulfiller of all things. I got to do a new video on that. By us proclaiming that, we uphold the Torah. After all, that's where he said you could find them, which almost nobody looks to. The thing that has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. There's nothing new under the sun. Deuteronomy 8. We'll finish it up. There's going to be a second Exodus. Many of the 144,000 are going to have to go back to Judah and witness to Judah in Jerusalem specifically who in the world their Messiah is. They don't even know who he is. 2,000 years. Who's going to do it in this time of those that I just told you about? They're going to have the Torah in them, in the spirit, not in the letter, as Paul said in Romans 2:28-29. Not in the written code. They're going to have the onoma, name, fame, reputation, the true Christ, the Torah, the Sabbaths, which he is the rest giver. That's going to be the identifying sign. They will uphold his onoma name. You have not denied my name, my fame, my reputation, my character, that I'm going to save the entire planet to the last fragment. The rest of the world, no. Christian world, you're going to burn forever. That's running after or annihilation, destructionism. You're going to You're going to deliver humanity to the Savior, and he's going to cause most of them to pass through the fire. It's running after the Baals. Verse 2, Deuteronomy 8, and you shall remember that the Yahweh your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you and test you to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. In the Spirit. Now, we don't do away with the law, the Torah, the Ten Commandments. We establish it through the Spirit, number one, with the Ten Commandments, and upholding all these things in the Torah fulfilled and to be fulfilled by Messiah. He does the works. So he humbled you, verse 3, allowed you to hunger, and fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, and that he might make you know that man shall not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that proceeds forth from the mouth of Yahweh, which almost nobody really does. At least that's what I see. Okay, that's part one. 144,000 going to have a vision and get through the misery that's coming shortly upon the earth. Okay, we'll do part two. Trumpet judgments. Maybe there'll be a part three. The tribulation. And maybe even a part four. The day of the Lord. We'll see. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.